to run to bed. If her body language signals to me that she's going to prematurely step off, I'm just going to say, So this is the place command, and the whole point of place is to have her go and be content in this area, whether it's a run to bed, a dog bed, or a blanket in your home, wherever you want it to be, designated area or spot that you want her to go and just be content in. She can sit, lay down, she can do whatever she wants to do, walk around on the bed, she just can't physically step off. The whole point of that is it is a little less structured than a sit stay or a down stay, where you have to hold to sit or lay down, and I want her to be in that position and not prematurely break away from it. Whereas this one's a little bit more lenient, but she just can't step off. After you have mommy in your environment for a little while and she's pre-acquainted with your voice and what this command is saying, then this way you can introduce a long-term treat or create a toy. Something for her to keep herself occupied. We don't want her bored, but right now I just want her focused. If I gave her something to chew on, of course she's going to stay there. But just to make sure she's understanding the command in your home, the first few times working on this, you're not going to want to give her something. In your home, you're going to want to start off with kind of the baby steps, which will be, I put her into the place, take a couple steps back, keeping eye contact. Because again, she's got to learn your tone of voice, and that what you say, you mean. And then you would walk up after you got some distance from her and place, like, good place, place, reminding her to first step away. And then maybe try and go break away the eye contact. Of course, this is step by step. You're not going to want to leave just out of place and then instantly leave the room. You want to make sure she does know that when you say it, you mean that she has to follow through. It should be a quick turnaround with making sure she learns your voice. Molly's really smart. She does have all of her commands under her belt, so just slowly introducing it, and then once you feel comfortable taking those next few steps, and eventually it'll be like just like here at the manor, where I'm going to be able to step out of the room in a moment. So turn it back to her. We have other dogs in the room. We work in distracting environments here because it makes it much easier in the long run. If they can work in a very distracting environment, working in a less distracting environment is nothing. So here in a moment, I'm going to step off the door behind the camera. You won't be able to see me. I'm going to step right upside, which is very tempting. And again, anytime you have progression, walk up and praise her. Good place, yes, Molly, good place, good boy, good place. Place, again, just remind me. In a moment here, I'm going to step on out a door to my left. I'm going to come back in a door to my right. We have plenty of doors here that link up to each other, and it's for the purpose of being able to train and do this. For the first step, I'm just going to step on to a door over here in this side of the room. I'm going to step out the door, it has a blind so she can't see me. Again, once you're able to do something like that in your home, walking up and praising her. Good place, good girl, good place. She can get belly rubs on here, that's fine. Good place. We would not allow that in a downstay, but in a place, like I said, it's not as structured as like a sit stay or a downstay. Place. Typically when Molly's holding a place here, she does have it well known that she can't leave, so I can give her something to occupy her. But like I said, for the purpose of this video, and when she first comes home, you want to make sure that you're setting her up for success, that she's actually understanding the command, and not just holding it because you gave her something to do. So after you have it, maybe where you have her holding a 10 to 15 minute place in your home without something to do, then then you can start giving her long-term treats or create safe toys, something to occupy her, keep her busy. But like I said, for the purpose of this video, when she first comes home, making sure she's just understanding the command, focused on the command, and learning it from your tone of voice. And then down the road, you can introduce those treats or toys. So in a second here, I'm going to step on out to the door to my left, and I'm going to walk around. Just want to kind of tantrum and walk over to some of our other puppies in the room, see what they're doing. This is really tempting to another dog, because they're like, well, I want the attention, what do you mean? Go over here and say hi to another one. Sometimes a step is even just like breaking the eye contact. Me not having eye contact with her, this is when some young dogs would want to think, she's not looking, maybe I can get away with breaking prematurely. Once you're able to do that, and like I said, go up and praise her, tell her good girl when you get past what you would call like a milestone or a step. Because you do want to keep her where it's exciting and positive and she knows that she's pleasing you. So I'm going to step on out again to the door here. Now it's to my right, but to the left of the room. And I'm going to step out and I'm going to come back out with this door. So unfortunately, I cannot come in that door yet. We are cleaning, so because there's cleaner on the floor, I can't utilize that room. But typically, I'm able to walk all the way around. I was able to go in and have a conversation about the room being clean, and then come back in here and she's still holding it. So that's definitely what I'm trying to say is you stepping out of sight, you come up and you praise her. Of course, she has it down here at the manor that she's doing exactly what she's supposed to. She understands my tone of voice, but when she comes home, she's definitely going to learn. It's almost like a foreign accent to her, and you want it to be that she learns that these commands, when you say them, mean the same thing as here. So, like I said, starting with those little small drills, and then working your way up. It does take time for a dog to adjust. It takes about at least 3 weeks for a dog to adjust. So, it's nothing that's ever going to happen overnight. Molly's a great dog. But she's just like any other dog, it does take time. No matter her age, any dog would need an adjustment period of, like I said, at least a minimum of 3 weeks or even longer. Like I said, it's nothing that's going to happen overnight. Another example of what I can do for leaving the room, since I can't utilize that door at the moment, I'm going to step into the bathroom and close the door. So if this was the first time of her working on this in this environment, I would walk around, praise her, tell her a good place, things like that. I'm going to step into the bathroom for a minute longer. This way, this has no window on it. She knows I cannot see her, but she still has to hold it. So she's doing really good with that. I'm going to walk up and praise her. Good girl, Molly. Good girl. Good place. Yes. Belly rubs are her favorite. She loves belly rubs. Good girl. Yeah, good job. Good place. So let's say she went to break away prematurely. Just like this. I'm going to tell her, I'm going to push her right back onto the bed. You have 10 seconds or less to do that. If it takes longer than 10 seconds for you to get out of the bed, she's completely forgotten what she was doing. It's not that anything with her not being smart. It's for any dog. They can't generalize time or information. So therefore, when she breaks away, you have those 10 seconds, get her right back on that bed. Say she breaks away and she got further than just a step. That was her definitely just inching off to see if she could get away with it. She's a very smart girl. Another thing you can do, say she made it all the way to here, and I know that that little window is passing quickly. Scoop her right on up. She's not heavy. Pick her up, and you put her right right back on the corona bed and telling her to place. No praise when you have to put her back on. No treat reward, no praise reward. We don't want it to be that we're rewarding the premature breaking. Oh, she's staring at some puppies outside right now. So like I was saying, no, we don't want it to be that we're rewarding the premature breaking of the command. We only want to reward when we go up because we've passed a milestone or because it's time to give her a release. When she first comes home, the worst thing you can do is put her in place and give her the release from across the room. The reason I say that is because then she's going to start building up this anticipation of, when can I go? So instead what I do is every time I go up and praise her, she doesn't know if I'm going to give her the release or if I'm just praising. So she'll be like, good girl, yes, good place. Good place. Place. She doesn't know if I'm going to say place at the end of that or if I'm going to say the release word. Of course, right now I'm just having her hold it for another minute or so. My bad. There's other things that I do to make this distracting. Sometimes we have a wheelie chair in here and I'll wheel around the room. That's actually very distracting to a dog and very inviting because now I'm getting closer to her level. Sometimes I will sit on the floor. This is a really big temptation for her because she knows that typically if I'm on the floor, she's getting a belly rub. Right there, her body language to me signaled, oh, I want to go. Just telling her, reminding her she cannot break away. So I know it looks a little silly me sitting here on the floor and that being a distraction, but the reason this is so distracting is she's like, oh, if I go over there, I could possibly get belly rubs. We want her to know that even if I'm on the floor, she has not heard the release word, and that's where hand-eye focus comes into play. So we're going to have her hold it for just a moment longer. Do distracting things like clapping my boots together. This all might look a little silly, but in reality it's strengthening this command and showing that she does have this command really well. Me sitting on the floor with my back to her, that's me changing my body language. Me breaking eye contact, again, a very tempting environment or tempting distraction. She definitely wants to come over here. So in a moment, I will give her the release and give her some belly rubs for praise. But we're going to run through her other commands. At the end of each session, she does get plenty of praise and treats reward. We spend about 10 minutes at least after each command of just giving her lots of praise. Because I want it to be, we always end on a good note. We end with a sit or down, something she's really, really strong with. And then, like I said, a 10-minute praise session. This way she has something to always look forward to, but always a positive last memory with training. She's not a very vocal one, but she definitely wants to come over here and get belly rubs. So I'm not going to release her while she does that. I'm not going to feed into it, I'm not going to console her, I'm not going to acknowledge her. If I do that, it will make it into a habit. If I ignore it, she'll stop in about 30 seconds or so. So now that she's been quiet, if this was something that she was persisting to do, I'd wait until there's at least 10, I can count to 10 in my head without her making a noise prior to releasing her. This goes for the same thing for in the kennel. It's just that she wants to come see me. It's her trying to get my attention, trying to get an acknowledgement from me, and I'm not going to feed into it. So wait until I can count to 10 in my head and she's really quiet. Like I said, this is the same for the kennel. If she was whining in the kennel or being boisterous, I'm not going to let her out while she's doing that. That's me getting into that and me creating a habit and having it where she thinks that that's an acceptable behavior when it's not. So now she's been quiet. I've been able to count to 10. I'm going to walk up, praise her. Good girl. Good place. And like I said, she doesn't know if I'm just going to tell her place when I walk away or if I'm going to walk up and give her the release. Okay. And that's the release word. Good girl. When she breaks away, I do want to praise her. I want to give her some pet-ins and love. Good job. Good job, sweet girl. Sit. Hand gesture up for a sit. Stay. Flat open hand. Same thing as with the place command. You're going to want to build back up to this type of distance or leaving the room like I'm going to do here in a moment. It's not that she doesn't know it, she just needs to learn your tone of voice and that you mean the same thing as when she's here at the manor and following through. It should be pretty quick to her grasping as long as you follow the steps of putting her back into the position. So let's say I started to walk away and Molly went to prematurely break away. I'm going to walk over and I'm going to put her right back into a sit. But you have 10 seconds, that 10-second window, it's roughly 10 seconds. You want it to be that you get her back there as quick as possible into the position. As long as she sat on her own in the beginning of it, like she did here when I did the hand reference up, I want her to stay in a sit. So I'm going to pick her right up, and back into a sit, stay. Because she sat for me in the beginning, she knows it. I want to get her back into that position. Putting her butt down into the sit is fine. I wouldn't do that at the beginning. I want her to do that on her own. But when she prematurely breaks away, you have that 10-second window, get her right back into that position. Same with the down command. Breaks away, I want to get her right back into a down. This is just making sure she follows through. This is her understanding that just because she wants to break away doesn't mean she can, and she has to mind. And then when I say it, stay, it means stay. So here in a second, I'm going to step out of the room. I step on outside. Very tempting. Same thing as with the place. I want it to be where we go up and praise her. Good, sit, stay. Let's stay, reminding her she's still holding. So the difference between a sit, stay, down, stay, as well as the place is sit, stay, and down, stay are much more structured. I want her to hold that sit position and not move around. I should be able to walk behind her and her still hold it. Flash that hand every once in a while, reminding her. Again, she needs to hold that position like she is. Whoop, that's my fault. I jumped the tree. Good, sit, stay. Good, sit, stay. Alright, sit, stay. Stay. I typically don't use treats throughout the sit, stay, down, stay, or the place command, because then she's just gonna, so she breaks away, walk over, put her butt right back down, sit, stay, following through. I don't use treats during these commands, or else I kind of look for them, especially during the place command. That's when she starts to put her nose over the edge, like, oh, can I find any crumbs? I want her focused on the commands and not eating. She is an older dog, or older puppy, I should say. She's a year-old. So she knows the commands and she does not need treats to necessarily do so. There's somebody outside. She's looking out her window here. And that's fine. Letting her glance at things, that's fine. As long as she's holding the position and she's listening, having hand and focus at the same time, that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to step out of the room. Like I said, flash her that stick or that hand signal every once in a while, reminding her. Good, sit, stay, Molly. Good, sit, stay. Good girl. Stay. Stay. Just gave her a reminder, her body language kind of signaling, I might prematurely break away. We do have a dog coming through. This is really distracting. Just a reminder, stay. I'm not sure they're coming in, they might, but I just want it to be that I'm close enough that if she breaks away, I can correct it. Stay. Flash that hand to her. You know, someone had a puppy coming through. It's not an excuse to break away. I'm going to walk up and praise her for that distraction, because we're showing you the baby steps of this. Good, sit, stay. Good, sit, stay. Stay. If you're, like I said, in your new home or her new home, in the environment, that she's never been in before. This is all new to her, and she does need to understand. She does need to understand that she has to follow through. I'm gonna pick her right up. Sit. Push that butt down. Sit. Stay. Same thing as the place command. I'm not going to give her the release in the beginning. Like I said, when she first comes home, you don't want it to be that you're giving the release from across the room. That's building up anticipation, and we don't want that. After she's been in your home for a while, then of course you can start to trust and have that judgment of when it's time to introduce it. Sit. Push that butt down. Stay. But for the first few times, especially of doing this command in your home, you just don't want that anticipation of, ooh, can I go? Because then this way when you step out of the room, she's going to think, ooh, I could break away. And she really can't. Good, sit, stay. Good girl. Good, sit, stay. And the release is good girl. Okay. So next what we're going to do is a down stay. I'm going to sit, hand gesture up, and then reference to the floor down, stay. Same thing. If she rolls over on her back like she wants a belly rub, that is not a down, so I'm not going to praise that. If that were the case, I would tap the floor on the side opposite to what she's rolling to. If she does it, I'll definitely be able to show you a little bit better. But this way she understands that we are holding a down and not a belly rub position. Big difference. Same thing, like I said, it's structured command. I'm going to walk behind him and test to see if she tries to break away. And that's exactly what we want. We want her to know that a down stay means stay in that down position and not to move. Of course, she can turn her head and look at me. That's handler focus. We want that. But we don't want it to be that I go behind her and she thinks she needs to pivot around, stand up so she can see me. No. Well, that's that structured command, that structured position. So I'm going to walk up and praise her. Good down stay. Good down stay. Good girl. So like I said, this is a down, not a belly rub. So when she does that, tap the floor, get her back into a down. Good down. Stay. We don't want her to think that she can go into a belly rub. I'm just trying to see if she can find trees. So I'm going to wait till I know they feel a little bit more comfortable. And then I'll walk away. I don't want to give her belly rubs, even when I'm praising her, because this is a down stay, not a belly rub. Big difference. As long as she's not army crawling. Her flipping to the other side, that is acceptable. That's her just getting comfy sometimes. Right now it's because she's trying to see if I dropped anything while I was over there. But her flipping her hips, as long as she doesn't stand up or try to pivot around and like leave the position, that's fine. She's staying in a down. I just don't want it to be that her body language signals like that. She signals to me she might get up. Stay. And that's the time you walk up. You get that handler focus back like I just did and flash the position or the hand signal to her for her to hold the position. During her go home, we will go through all of this, but this video is to be utilized when I leave. This way you can continue strengthening her commands in your home. She is still a young dog, so of course there's always room for growth. Even an older dog, I tell people there's always room for growth. They're always continuing to learn. the mantra that old dogs can't learn new tricks is not true in the slightest. The thing is though, when she does come home, you do want to make sure you're implementing these commands right away, so she doesn't think that it's too lenient and that she can get away without following through. Some people think that when they come home, there's that new dog, the new puppy phase, and you want to just kind of spoil them. Yes, to an extent, but then again, you want to make sure when it comes to her commands, she's following through and understands that she does have to do them. In a moment here, I'm going to give her the release, and then we're going to do her kennel. Actually, I will also show you her sit and down without a sit. You're not going to pet her while she goes into that belly rub. Good girl, good down. Good down, stay. Tap her back, get that focus back to a down. And then pat. Good girl. Sometimes just petting her head definitely sets her up for success. If of course you're going towards her belly region, she's going to want to flip over. Petting her head's a good way to set her up for success, or even petting her feet. But not having it always where you're instigating the belly. If I'm petting on the back, I want her to understand she has to hold this down. Nope, so I'm not going to praise her while she's doing that. I'm going to get her back into the down. This is fine, she's on her side. Nope. I'm not reward any of that. Down. Stay. In a second, I'm going to reward now that she's holding it down. Like I said, if you feed into any of these little fun antics of hers that she's trying to be playful, then of course she's not going to take it seriously. It's because she's a smart dog that she knows that she's cute and that she might get away with it if the right person is doing this. But I don't feed into any of those behaviors, and she knows that she has to follow through with me. As long as you set the same standards, it'll be the same for you. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Yes, good job. So this is the sit. Good girl. I will give her treats for these ones. Down, referencing to the floor. Good. We'll do those both again a little closer to the camera. Sit. Good girl. Down, referencing to the floor. Good girl. More treats. We do want to keep her excited, and we do want to keep her attention. Sometimes pulling those treats in for these little basic ones, like this sitting down, definitely keep her excited to work. Sit. It's very food motivated, as well as praise driven. So, down. Good girl. She's not a puppy, you don't have to touch the floor to do it down. It says sit. Yes. You're going to hear me say yes, good girl, a lot, and that's just positive marker words. These have become like treats to her, just telling her she's doing what I want. Molly, come. Sit. Yes, good girl. Down. Yes. So give me a moment here. I'm just going to turn around. We're going to do her kennel and weight commands. Just trying to see if she can get a free treat in the meantime. I'm just going to grab a couple, because we'll do this a few times. Show you how to give her the kennel the first few times in your home. She does know the kennel command, but like I said, we want to keep things positive and exciting, especially when she first comes home in a new environment. She is very excited. She loves treats. Cheerios are some of her favorite treats. Train Me treats. She loves Bully Sticks as a long-term treat, as well as Hubs. She's not really that picky. She likes the chicken and bacon flavored ones for the Train Me treats. She doesn't snob much. So toss it in. I didn't even toss it on accident. I can hand it to her. She knows kennel. But in your home, the first few times, tossing a treat in there is a good idea to keep it positive and exciting. We're going to have a distraction walk through here in a second. It's fine. We want distractions. Come on in. It's really good to work with things like that when people walking through. So I'm going to tell Molly, wait. Okay, good girl. And rewarding that. So we want her to wait to come out of the kennel. We don't want her barging. So if this is the first day Molly was in your home taking that treat, toss in the backside of the kennel. You don't need it once she gets more acquainted with your home. Here we can just reference the kennel and she goes right in. But if we were taking it back to the basics, I don't have that locked. I'm just gonna grab a couple of treats. Gonna tell her weight. Okay, good girl. We want her listening. So the kennel command is we want her to have a positive relationship with the kennel, just want to go in there freely. Molly, I can go like this, tell her kennel, and then I can give her a treat when she goes in. Typically, like right now, this kennel's just set up for this drill. There's always something for her to lay on. We use soaker pads and stuff, just to keep something between. Since Molly's older, she is allowed a dog bed. She typically has a dog bed in there with her as well as a toy or a lunchroom treat, something to keep her occupied. Dogs can't generalize time and how long it goes by, so we want them to have something to keep them focused or keep them occupied and focused on. This way they're not wondering when you're going to come back and stressing out. So giving them something to keep them busy. Telling her weight. If she went to barge out, because she's in her new home and wants to see if she can get away with it, close her right back in there. You don't want her to break out until you give that release word, because then if you do that, it's taking 10 steps back. So telling her weight. If she went to break out, say close her back in. Telling her weight. Okay. Good girl. Yes, good job. So again, if this was the first day, toss it in, go down. Of course, you have a toy. Sometimes we can do that too. I'll grab a toy here in a moment and show you what I mean. You would take whatever it is you're occupying her with and using that like I just did with the treat. Keeping it exciting, so keeping it different and fresh for her to go into the kennel. We don't just use the wait command with the kennel, we actually also use it when walking through doorways as well as across streets. It deters barging and bad manners. We want her to be calm, have good manners coming out of the kennel, and not have it where I'm going like this and she's trying to potentially push her head through and barge her way out. That's not good manners. That's not gentle, calm behavior. We want nice, calm coming out of the kennel. I mean, she gets excited for the release word, but we don't want it to be that I'm trying to open it and she's just bombarding her way out. So I tell her weight. Okay. So what I was referring to about the Crate Safe toy, this is not one of her toys, but we'll just utilize it for the moment. It's a bit smaller for what I would want to crate her with. I was getting excited about it. She wants to chew on it already. Toss it in for a kennel. Same thing with the treat. Close her in. A big thing about this command is when you do first start working on it in your home, you don't want it to be that Molly is focused on eating or chewing the toy or long-term treat. You want it to be that her focus is on you and what you're saying. So when I tell her, Molly, wait, I want her focus. If she was sitting there chewing on a bully stick or a hoof or that toy, or even the treat I just tossed in because we're just working on it, then I don't want it to be that I'm saying that to her then. Setting her up for success, having her focus. So when I say, Molly, she looks at me, that's hand eye focus. Telling her, wait. I know her ears are on. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. Again, telling her kennel. I'll reward her when she goes in. Keeping it positive. When she first comes home, you can pet her up in the kennel. Tell her, good girl, good kennel. And close her on in there. Her first few nights, sometimes when they go home, it's, oh, what's going on? They want to be with you because now they're in a new environment. So they might bark or whine or cry. You don't want to feed into it. I'm not going to walk up and be like, it's okay. I'm not going to console her. I'm not going to baby it. You could definitely tune it out. Sometimes you can put a sheet over the kennel, put a fan on, soft music, something like that that kind of distracts her from what's going on. Molly is older. She shouldn't have much of an issue. But just in case that is something that happens, don't feed into it. You will definitely create a big habit and it's harder to break unless you, it's harder to break then than if you just let her work it out in the beginning. Wait. Same thing when walking through the doorway. I would tell her wait. If she went to prematurely barge, like I said, closing them back in. Same thing with the door. Or same thing when crossing the street. Take her back, put her back in the safe position, telling her wait. Okay. Good girl. Molly's a super smart dog. She's a really good girl. She's got some really good training in her kennel. Just as long as you don't let her boss you around and you make sure she minds and follows through, you definitely see all of her training showing through. Everybody's waking up now. It's okay. You must have somebody pulling in the driveway. It's fine. Even with the distractions, I'm going to tell her, wait. She's not even barking. She's not one of our boisterous ones. Okay. Good girl. Molly. Come. Up. She's definitely checking out what's going on. Or checking out what's going on. Come. Good girl. That's fine. Let her like check things out. You don't want it to be that you kind of shelter from things. But we still have focus and good hand focus and attention when stuff like this is going on. Wait. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. And then again, just on her kennel. Give her a treat. You tell her wait. Open it up. She's old enough now that when I say she realizes, oh, got ahead of myself there. And okay. Okay. Good girl. She wasn't listening to that moment. It's fine. She's doing really good with all of her commands. Of course, I'm not surprised. She's a very smart girl, very good girl. And like I said, as long as you set standards when she comes home, you're going to see this side of her as well. Good girl. Yes. Good job.